You know, as Frank Thomas is fond of calling it, when the Great War of Northern Aggression broke out, Florida was the first to follow suit behind South Carolina in seceding from the Union. There was a kid that lived up in the Live Oak area named Lewis Powell. He was a good-looking young man, big kid, very willing, not terribly smart, but a nice kid nevertheless. And being a larger boy, when the war broke out, he was 17. He ran, lied, and told them he was 18 and joined the Confederate infantry against his Methodist father's wishes and the pleas of his mother. He ran off and he fought at Gettysburg, was wounded and captured, but with a group of other prisoners he escaped. But then something strange happened. It seemed like he turned his back on it all. He turned around, he crossed the Union lines, swore allegiance to the United States, changed his name from Powell to Lewis Payne, and moved off northeast to Baltimore. And there he took up residence in a boarding house owned by a lady named Mary Surratt, and became part of the conspiracy to assassinate President Lincoln. The night that Booth shot Lincoln, he was to kill Secretary of State William Seward. The plan was for the 4 heads of state to be assassinated and to disrupt the Union government and resurrect the Southern cause. 2 of the men, one of them went to a bar for courage and got a little too much courage and never got out of the bar. Another went to the bar for courage and got brains and ran. Booth, of course, did his job. Payne went to Seward's house. The gun he brought with him misfired. With a knife, he fought past 4 guards and attacked Seward, who was sick in bed with the flu. Jumped in bed with the man, stabbed him 7 times, including once in the face, and didn't kill him. Ran off, was captured, and was hung just 60 days later, justice being ever so slightly swifter back then, in Washington as one of the conspirators, along with Mary Surratt. His remains were kept in the Smithsonian Institution. They didn't release them. And for 120 years, the Powell family petitioned to get the remains released. And for 120 years, the Seward family objected. This is a group that can hold a grudge. Finally, about 1995, they got his remains released. The Powell family had to leave Live Oak in the shame of what had gone on, and had moved just north of Orlando to a little place called Geneva. And they buried his remains there in the family cemetery. I had written this song just before his remains were released, because I got interested in the story, and this song now is used as part of a lecture series on Booth and the assassination and the identities of the conspirators, called American Brutus. But this is called A Mother's Tears. Well, they say that on that dreadful night, the Booth shot Lincoln and he took to flight. A Florida boy, he had a hand in the deed in John Wilkes Booth's conspiracy. And Lewis Powell was his given name, a Live Oak boy who had come to shame. Went to war in the infantry, and he wore the gray of the Confederacy. Now, child, ain't you heard? Them devils done hung my baby boy. Ain't you heard? My baby boy was hung in Washington. He didn't do what they say he done. Now a war can steal a boy's heart and soul, and Lewis's soul had turned black as coal. He was taken to Gettysburg but soon broke free. Then he turned his back on his Confederacy, deserted the cause until the Union came, changed his name to Lewis Payne, for an oath of loyalty to the Union and Lincoln's presidency. But it all seemed part of a darker plan, for in Baltimore he joined up in Booth's band, and at the boarding house where the deadly plans were laid, young Lewis's life was cast away. For on the night when Booth took Lincoln's life, he first met with Payne and he gave him a gun and a knife. Another Yankee man was to die at young Payne's hands. Well, Lewis made the attempt, but he failed, and he ran. Well, 3 days later they had their man, declared him part of the assassin's plan. He died on the gallows as Lewis Payne, though Powell was his given name. And the family in shame from Live Oak fled, with heavy hearts and hanging heads. Mrs. Powell cried a mother's tears, and she sobbed these words for all to hear. Now, child, ain't you heard? Them devils done hung my baby boy. Ain't you heard? My baby boy was hung in Washington. He didn't do what they say he done. No, my boy wouldn't hurt no one. Thank you.